Hello, welcome to Tactical Startup. This week, we're going to be talking about failure. Now, I know we've talked about it before, but this episode's going to be a little bit different. And here's why. Because failure is inevitable. And the sooner that you recognize that as an entrepreneur or as a person, the quicker you will understand that although failure is inevitable, defeat is optional. You're listening to Tactical Startup, a podcast dedicated to building amazing businesses. I'm your host, Taylor Darcy. In this podcast, we explore ways to innovate, improve, and level up your business through sales, marketing, automation, and business planning. Successful businesses pivot when times are bad and stay the course when times are good. We will have guests from different walks of life to help you see that success is not only possible, but even probable, no matter when or where you start. Through hard work and strategic planning, you can have the entrepreneurial life you've always dreamed. Tune in weekly to level up your business. Welcome back. So I wanted to talk about this. I've actually been thinking about this. I've been dealing with this for the last couple of weeks and or months. Like that's why I haven't been posting in my podcasts. And the reason why I did have some physical ailments that prevented me from being able to do it. I've also had some family emergencies. And so I've been thinking long and hard about what to talk about because I wanted this to be more than just another podcast. There's tons of them out there. So why should you listen to mine? And the idea that failure is inevitable, but defeat is optional. I remember reading the Old Man and the Sea in high school, junior high, and we talked about the difference between being defeated, okay? But in this context, in an entrepreneurial world where there's a new thing around the corner, there's a new Bitcoin, there's new this, there's new that, there's a new shiny object syndrome. We all have it, like maybe not all, but a lot of people have the shiny object syndrome where the next new thing pops along. Oh, ClickFunnels this. Oh, marketing that. Oh, I'm not doing this. But, and eventually you will be successful, more likely than not. But failure, Henry Ford said, failure is the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. And so I wanted to talk to you about this because the sooner you get used to the idea of failure being a real thing, not just like, we can't fail. Okay. There's a lot of like corporate speak that says failure is not an option. You're like, okay, but it is. Actually, it really is. Failure is an option. Okay. And it's real. Like it's not just hypothetical. We fail each and every day. Your kids drive you nuts and you blow up at them. You just failed. How many of you have ever been on a diet? You've probably failed at it. You have failed at something. And business is no different. Business is a risk with potential great rewards. But the reality is that failure happens every day. There'll be that client that you forgot to call back because of whatever reason. There'll be that potential client that was important, but it just didn't quite materialize. Not because of anything bad. You didn't do it on purpose. I'm not saying that you're culpable. I'm saying that you failed. Okay? You just did. You woke up, you made a choice, something happened, it wasn't right, you failed. There's nothing wrong with that. But the sooner that you recognize that you failed, okay, the sooner that you can get back up. And so that's where the defeat is optional comes in. Defeat is optional. You don't have, the only time defeat is optional. Failure is inevitable, defeat is optional. Okay, the only time that defeat is permanent is if you let it. Each day you can fail at something, and we all do, right? I mean, do you 100% obey every speed limit or traffic law? Probably not. Probably not. You probably have run a red light on your way somewhere. Or, the posted speed is 65, but everybody's doing 75. And so you do it. You've failed at obeying the law. I would challenge, if anybody of you listens, if anybody ever says failure is not an option, they are lying. That it is just the truth. They are lying. It is fiction that they are peddling. And nobody believes them. That's the worst part, but they say it anyway. Failure is an option. But how you deal with failure is the difference between being defeated and not defeated. Do you get back up? Do you try again? Do you fix the thing that broke? Do you work harder? Or, even better, do you work smarter? There's only 24 hours in a day. As I kind of talked about, and we'll talk more about my health issues later, a different episode, because I don't think it's right for this episode. But even then, your body fails. If you've ever worked out, part of the benefit of working out is working to failure. Your muscles grow stronger because it doesn't want to fail again. You get weak by avoiding failure. You get incompetent by avoiding challenges. If you get down on the ground and you start pushing up, and I, physical fitness is something I struggle with. I'm not gonna blow sunshine and say that I'm perfect on this one. It's something I struggle with. But eventually your body fails, not because your body is a failure, okay, but because you can't do anymore. There's only so much your body can do. That's just the reality. The strongest man alive still works towards failure. They increase the weight. They increase the reps. They do these things to push their bodies to failure because that's when they grow. That's when there's little micro tears in the muscle. That's what causes muscle to grow. And the muscle then heals itself through proteins and amino acids and so many of these other things. Okay. And the muscles heal itself in an effort to not fail again. So it doesn't want to fail. But if you do the same reps with the same weight, your body will just get accustomed to that. Your body will get, that will normalize it. And you won't grow. You literally have to push to failure to grow physically, muscularly speaking. There are other things that you don't want to do that to. Like, you don't want to run till you pass out. Okay, that's not a good way to do it. Do you want to do some cardiovascular exercise? Do you want to push yourself? Yeah, absolutely. You should do it with, the right training and support and make sure you're doing it the right way. You're not going to hurt yourself. Okay, there's a difference between that and doing it incorrectly. But the principle is the same. You only truly grow once you've pushed into your failure. And then you move from failure. If you never get back up, that's being defeated. I pause for emphasis because the reality is that you don't have to ever be defeated. I know there are literally hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, and a lot of them are serial entrepreneurs. They'll build a business and then sell it, or the business will fail, whatever it is. And they'll push through it, and they'll figure it out how to be smart the next time. Without that, if you keep making the same mistakes, if you keep failing the same way you did, well, one, you're not learning anything. Two, you're wasting your time. Three, you're wasting your money. And that's a form of defeat, right? That's you didn't learn anything. You didn't apply the lessons that you did from the failure. And so you run this risk of not becoming the best version of yourself or the best business that you can become because you choose to do things the same way every time. As I've talked before on other on other episodes, building a business and learning when to pivot, when to make better choices on something, right? Like not every product you develop or that you're going to sell is going to sell amazingly. It just isn't going to work because maybe the market's not right at that time. Maybe it's already oversold. Maybe there's so many reasons why something doesn't work that may be in part of your fault and maybe it isn't. But imagine if, for instance, BlackBerry and iPhone, okay, and Apple, they're a great example of this. BlackBerry held the market on smart devices. Nobody could touch them. Nobody. There was nothing out there that was any better than a BlackBerry. I had several BlackBerries. I loved my BlackBerry. It was awesome. I could type in a whole email on that thing, like super fast, and it was amazing. And I mean, the browser was terrible, but the physical keyboard, I loved having it in my hands. I could type so fast, and texting and BlackBerry Messenger was awesome. I loved my BlackBerry. Like, it was amazing. Except for Apple came out with their iPhone. And they realized that the future was software driven instead of hardware driven. So they had virtual keyboards on their iPhones from the day one. They didn't try to compete with BlackBerry as a BlackBerry. They didn't try to bring out a keyboard friendly device like the BlackBerry was. They brought out their own thing. They did their own thing. Now, not all of us are going to be Apple. We can't afford to be Apple, right? But where I'm going with this is that BlackBerry didn't see the writing on the wall. They had too many people that were invested in their hardware to make the decision to switch. And when they finally did, they switched too late. Apple was off to the races and kicking their trash. Fact. BlackBerry screwed up. They failed a lot. And so what? I mean, that stinks. I mean, like their company is now all but out of business as far as I'm aware. They might even be out of business. I haven't caught with them for a long time. I'll have to look them up. But at any point, they could have started developing their own thing. They were so happy with what they were getting in BlackBerry world that they didn't look 10 years ahead. It was way too late. Now, I get it. But right now, I mean, we're dealing with lots of different social media issues, people out there that are selling you snake oil, and it's hard. It's hard knowing that people are trying to take your money and not trying to help you. I'm not saying this is true of everyone. I'm saying it's true of some. Okay. And the big problem there is that when you're dealing with your own money, which you should, as I've said before, try to avoid taking investment money if you can. Try to bootstrap as much as possible. I understand it's difficult. Trust me, I'm there with you. But the point is that, you know, I recently came across somebody that was trying to scam me as an attorney. And it was disappointing. Okay. It's very sad. because I work hard for my money. You work hard for your money. You provide a service or a product. I provide a service, mostly. Okay. And the idea that someone's just so willing to steal it, deceive me out of it, right? I had one, I'll tell you a story. I had one guy that had a dispute about this or a dispute, and it turned out there was another type of scam. And I figured it out, and thankfully I wasn't hurt. But imagine that you're wasting this time on this person to find out that they're just trying to get your money. That can be really disheartening, right? Thankfully I caught it, but there have been other attorneys that don't. They fail to do their due diligence. Things don't add up, and yet they continue to pursue it rather. Okay. So do I stop believing in people? Do I stop working with people? No. But I'm more careful. I put procedures in place to prevent things like that from happening, which is the smarter part, right? Maybe I miss out on a few things because people don't want to pay me, do whatever. But I would rather miss out on those few than to be exposed significantly. Okay. So I learned from my mistake. I've had people not pay me. It's not right. I delivered a service. I should be paid. I should be compensated for my work, just like you should. I firmly believe that. Everyone should be compensated for their work. No questions asked. If you don't like it, go somewhere else. Pay somebody else. Do something else. But here's the thing. Everyone deserves to be treated like a human being, no matter what they're paid, no matter how they are. Now, why am I talking about this in the context of failure and defeat? Is that don't be the cause of someone's failure, intentionally so. Don't make it so difficult that somebody wants to give up. I firmly believe that we can all succeed to whatever degree that we choose to. This is not a zero-sum game. We shouldn't be seeking out ways to hurt other people. It doesn't matter who's on the other side. Everybody deserves to be treated with respect. It doesn't matter who they are. From the trash man to the burger flipper to the CEO of a business. I don't care who you are. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Thank you. Please. I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to diss particular people, but the level of customer service in the world has gone down drastically. People no longer say please and thank you. They've failed. It's not that hard to say please and thank you. It's not that hard to be polite to somebody. Even when you're busy, you can be polite. You can say things that are encouraging and that are uplifting. It goes a long way towards making someone's day better, especially when we're all struggling. There's not a single person that doesn't struggle with something. That's our lives. One thing or another. I don't care if you are Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak. I don't care who you are. You deserve to be treated with respect. And everyone deserves some empathy. Even the worst of people. Now, should we condone their acts? No, absolutely not. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not saying we agree with them. I'm saying that we treat them as human beings, even when they don't treat us like that. Because it isn't just about going high when they go low. It's about being able to look at yourself in the mirror and respect yourself for doing the right thing, even when it's inconvenient. We don't have to agree with people, but everyone deserves that truth, right? Everyone deserves to not be made fun of. There are politicians and business owners that I vehemently, cases, for instance, that's, we're in the legal circuit, cases that I disagree with, but that's not my call. I'm not the judge. But what I'm getting at here is that people have lost this sense of respect for one another. It's so easy on my YouTube channel, particularly. People like to troll. They'll come on and just say stupid things on a video for no reason. I got a pretty thick skin. I can take it. It doesn't hurt me. But the anonymity of the internet has created this weird thing where people think that what they say doesn't matter. Oh, I'm just joking. Yeah, you failed. You failed in that instance. Everyone deserves to be treated with respect, no matter who they are. It isn't a sign of weakness to say please and thank you. It's a sign of strength. To do your job well, even when it's inconvenient, is a sign of strength. Sure, most people would rather be at the beach or the mountains or something else rather than work. I totally get that. But do your job. Do it well. No matter what it is. Years ago, I worked at McDonald's. More than 20 years ago. I want to say almost like 30. Not quite 30. Wow. Anyway. And, I was taught to use please and thank yous. And there was a lady who came through drive-thru, and she was sitting there for a little while because the line was backed up, and so we had a good chat. And I was just chatting about, normal things. I wasn't trying to woo her or communicate anything crazy. I was just talking to her like normal, like a normal human being, like someone who mattered. And at the end of it, she was so impressed with how I had talked with her, and we built this rapport in 30 seconds. Like, really, I'm not kidding you, that she gave me her husband's business card and said, call him. He needs people that treat customers like that. We're so busy these days that we don't take time for what's really important. And that's helping others. It's loving others, even when they don't deserve it. And I know that's hard because there's a lot of people out there that don't deserve love in the respect that we don't think that they do. But they do. They matter. Everyone does. This month is Pride Month. I bring that up because this idea that people are dying because of the way that they're treated, because they're gay, is unacceptable. Everyone deserves to be treated with love and respect, regardless of whatever their choices are or their sexual identity, because they're all human beings. Treat each other well. Is failure inevitable? Yes. We're all going to fail. But let's not cause someone to be defeated. Let's not add to their load. Each person that we know is carrying a load of some sort. Some heavier than others. Some bricks bigger than others, if you will. We don't need to keep adding a brick to them. They have a big enough brick. They have a big enough brick or a number of bricks on their back that it's a good thing that they aren't visible. Because if they were, you'd understand more. You'd be more empathetic towards them. Don't add to people's struggles. And ideally, try to take away. If there's a brick that you can take off someone's back, then do it. That's one of the things I love about my job. I get to help take bricks off people's backs, and I carry those bricks. I try to move those bricks to the places where they hurt the other person the least. It's hard. It's challenging. I internalize their struggles. I internalize their pain and the difficulty of carrying those bricks. But I try to take and walk alongside them and hold their bricks until we can either make that wall or destroy the brick entirely. And this is all part of this idea that we're in this together. We don't need to hurt each other. We need to help. We need to help. Because at the end of the day, my wife is an amazing example of this. Sorry, I wanted to finish. At the end of the day, the people that you help are the people that will help you. As I was saying earlier, I've had some physical ailments and I've had some family issues. Long story short, my wife is such an amazing, caring person that people have been so generous in helping us in our time of need that it was truly a godsend. Did some of them we didn't ask. In fact, pretty much nobody we asked. People volunteered. Now, is it going to happen that way all the time? Is it always going to be where someone helps you when you need help? No. There's going to be those moments where you have to dig deep. It's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. But you can do it. That's the thing. You do not have to be defeated by your struggles, by those bricks in your bag. Nope. Just like that muscle, just like we were talking about. You can move mountains because your body is amazing and can get stronger by its use of its muscles. But sometimes we need that brick, just a little while. So be that to someone else. Try to help someone else's, lighten someone else's load so that you will have someone when you need it that can help you lighten your load. Until next time, this is Taylor Darcy with Tactical Startup. Have a great week.